Mayoral candidate will be on the general election ballot despite an attempt to block her candidacy by an ally of current Mayor Tiffany Henyard, who is
a mayoral candidate being challenged. The saga surrounding embattled South suburban politician Tiffany Henyard continues.
Tiffany Henyard, the embattled mayor of Downton, Illinois, and supervisor of Thornton Township, has once again captured headlines. And not for the reasons one would expect from a public official. The situation surrounding her is a chaotic mix of political infighting, power struggles, lawsuits, and mounting public outrage that shows no signs of slowing down. If you thought the turmoil in Thornton Township couldn't get any worse, think again. The drama surrounding Henyard has reached a boiling point, sending shockwaves throughout the community. From shutting down government services to locking residents out in the cold, Henyard's actions have left many wondering how such a crisis is allowed to continue.
Tiffany Henyard was not at the hearing here today. Neither was her attorney, and she was not made available for a comment.
The latest bombshell in Thornton Township is a full-blown government shutdown. Yes, you read that correctly. The township, which provides vital services to its residents, has been forced to close its doors. The reason? The Board of Trustees has failed to attend meetings, preventing any progress from being made. This isn't an isolated incident either. For the fifth time in recent weeks, a meeting was canceled because there weren't enough trustees present to form a quorum. Without these meetings, essential business, like renewing insurance policies, can't take place. And without insurance, the township cannot legally function, leading to the shutdown. As a result, residents who depend on services like food assistance and transportation for medical appointments are now left without support. Meanwhile, township employees are facing the threat of layoffs just days before the holidays.
Lights are off behind me, the doors are locked here, and there's a sign on the building right now that says it's closed. For how long? Neither residents nor employees know at this point.
Henyard, of course, has been quick to deflect blame. In a recording from a recent meeting, she lashed out at absent trustees Carmen Carlisle and Chris Gonzalez, accusing them of neglecting their responsibilities and holding the township hostage. According to Henyard, their refusal to attend meetings is a calculated effort to prevent her from appointing a new trustee, someone who could provide the critical tie-breaking vote she needs to push her agenda forward. It's not high school, Richard said, frustrated by the ongoing gridlock. But her critics have a different perspective. Trustee Gonzalez responded, accusing Henyard of trying to consolidate power for herself. He cautioned that appointing her chosen trustee could open the door to more financial mismanagement and unchecked spending. We've been working hard to keep tabs on things like that, Gonzalez remarked, clearly referencing Henyard's controversial past.
Our job is to govern, to provide a way, provide services. And we're not doing that because they're stalling government, gridlocking it, because they can't have their way.
And Henyard's track record is, frankly, staggering. She has been under federal investigation for months, with scandals piling up. Allegations of financial mismanagement have plagued her time as both mayor of Downton and supervisor of Thornton Township. Reports have surfaced revealing lavish spending on taxpayer-funded trips, including one concert with minimal attendance that cost over $85,000. Additionally, her namesake cancer charity was shut down after failing to properly account for how it spent donations. Further troubling, her office was accused of unaccounted purchases, such as $40,000 spent on Amazon in a single day. It's no wonder residents are fed up. The real business isn't being done because of all this nonsense, said one resident, reflecting the widespread frustration in the community.
Again, no comment from Mayor Tiffany Henyard. Voters here will first head to the polls in February for the primary election, then the general mayoral election.
But Henyard's troubles don't stop there. She's also embroiled in a bitter legal battle with the Democratic Party of Thornton Township after being abruptly removed from the ballot for next year's election. The drama unfolded earlier this month during a rare Democratic caucus where State Senator Napoleon Harris, the party's committeeman, led a voice vote that excluded Henyard from the slate of candidates. Henyard has insisted the process was rigged, accusing Harris of voter suppression and claiming her supporters were locked out of the venue. It's about control, Henyard said during a press conference. They can't beat me, so they're trying to shut me out. However, Harris maintains that the caucus adhered to all party rules and state laws, dismissing Henyard's allegations as garbage.
Manipulation. Nobody likes being manipulated, and when you get here, you know that's exactly what's happening.
To make matters worse, Henyard is also fighting to retain her seat as mayor of Dolton, where she faces a tough challenge from senior trustee Jason House. House, who has been leading the charge to unseat Henyard, has described her administration as chaotic and unethical. He has pledged to restore checks and balances to the village and prioritize ethics reform if elected mayor. Meanwhile, Henyard has vowed to fight back, recently announcing her re-election bid on social media. She portrayed herself as a super mayor and promised to bring change to the community. However, many residents remain skeptical given her controversial track record.
It's a little bit of both.
A little bit of both.
Wow.
Let's talk about the title of this because it's called Super Mayor, and that is what Tiffany Henyard calls herself.
The tension between Henyard and her critics reached a boiling point this week when she abruptly shut down Thornton Township's government. Residents and employees arrived at the township building to find the doors locked, with a sign posted announcing the closure. Township Assessor Jacqueline D. Brown and her staff were among those caught off guard. "We got no notification, no warning, nothing," Brown said, clearly frustrated by the lack of communication.
Friday, but was met by this sign.
Okay, here I am, and they disappeared now.
Henyard defended the shutdown, calling it a necessary step and blaming the absent trustees for stalling government business. However, critics argue that the insurance renewal could have been handled without board approval, accusing Henyard of using the issue as leverage to force a meeting and push through her trustee appointment. Trustee Carlisle labeled the situation irresponsible, warning that playing political games with essential services could have devastating consequences. The timing couldn't be worse. With the holidays approaching, families who rely on the township's programs are now left in limbo. Section 3.
Our hesitation is that if there's a person in there that will just say yes to everything, I mean, it will set us back.
The ripple effects of the shutdown are already being felt throughout the community. Residents who depend on township services like transportation for medical appointments and utility assistance are now scrambling to make alternative arrangements. Local advocacy groups have stepped in to fill the gap, but they're overwhelmed by the demand. "We're doing our best to help, but these are essential services that the township is supposed to provide," said one volunteer coordinator. "This isn't just an inconvenience, it's a crisis for people who already live on the edge." The uncertainty has left many questioning whether the township's leadership is capable of prioritizing the needs of its most vulnerable residents. The frustration has been further compounded by the cancellation of the township's annual toy giveaway, Socialized Safety Act, a cherished tradition that benefits hundreds of local families each year. The event, which was scheduled for the upcoming weekend, was abruptly called off due to the shutdown. Parents who had been relying on the program to provide gifts for their children have expressed outrage, with some taking to social media to voice their concerns. "This is what happens when politics get in the way of doing what's right," one resident posted. "Our kids are the ones paying the price." The cancellation has only deepened the community's distrust in its leadership, with many now calling for immediate action to resolve the crisis.
We spoke to Henyard spokespeople today and trustees who are calling it a ploy.
What's going on? What do we do? What do we have to do?
As if this weren't enough, Henyard's handling of the media has also raised eyebrows. During a recent hearing on candidate objections, she invited reporters into a small office for a press conference, only for her staff to eject certain members of the press. Local YouTuber Burgundy Blue and reporters from 2 newspapers were told to leave, while television crews were allowed to stay. Burgundy Blue, who has been covering Henyard's controversies for months, described the experience as frustrating but not surprising. "She's always trying to control the narrative," Blue said. The incident has sparked outrage among journalists and residents alike, with many accusing Henyard of censorship.
We need some action. Somebody that's actually going to do their job. How about that? Somebody that's come in, work for the people, not themselves, and have pictures all over the place.
The chaos surrounding Henyard has even spilled into her personal life. She is currently facing eviction from a home in Dolton after allegedly failing to pay rent for several months. Court documents reveal that her landlord is seeking over $13,000 in back rent and damages. Henyard reportedly moved out of the property in October, but her boyfriend, Camel Wood, still resides there. This case has only added fuel to the fire, with critics questioning how someone under such financial strain can effectively manage public funds. Amid all this turmoil, residents are growing increasingly disillusioned. Many have taken to social media to vent their frustrations, with some even calling for Henyard's resignation or imprisonment. "How is this woman not in prison by now?" one commenter asked, reflecting the widespread anger in the community. Another posted, "So tired of hearing about her. Can't they just get her out of there? How can she hold the township hostage like this?" These sentiments are echoed by those who have attended township meetings only to witness them devolve into shouting matches and finger-pointing.
Down, and that is why the building is closed.
Well, we were advised by the attorneys to close the building. The building shouldn't be open. The risk is great.
It's clear that Thornton Township and the village of Dolton are at a crossroads. The political infighting, financial scandals, and lack of accountability have left residents feeling abandoned and betrayed. Many are now looking to the upcoming elections as an opportunity to bring about real change. But with Henyard doubling down and her critics standing firm, it's anyone's guess how this saga will unfold. So what's next for Tiffany Henyard? Will she manage to hold on to her positions, or will the mounting pressure finally force her out? And perhaps most importantly, what will it take for the residents of Thornton Township and Dolton to see the change they so desperately need? Only time will tell.